spoon theory. Is that a cooking technique? No, wait, it's that new flexibility, mobility workout I keep getting ads on Instagram for, right? No? Is it a sex thing? A way of describing the energy resources and usage of people who are neurodivergent or living with chronic disease or mental health issues. Welcome to Blade and Broom, your favorite witchy aunt's cottage tea shop where we're always talking about magic and witchcraft. I'm Lorelei Black, a Spoonie witch, and I am so glad you're here. Thanks for supporting the channel through likes, subscribes, and checking out the links and resources that I put in the description box down below. You are fantastic humans. According to spoon theory, everybody starts the day with a certain number of spoons that represent the energy that it takes to handle our physical, mental, emotional, psychological demands throughout the day. The healthier, more trauma-free, and neurotypical that we are, the more spoons that we actually have to be able to handle typical amounts of stress in a typical day. According to the theory, a typical, like neurotypical, healthy, trauma-free person has about 20 spoons to be able to handle their day with. I don't have 20 spoons in my house to do a demonstration with that on, so I have like 4 spoons and a bunch of other things, and we're gonna use those. I have 19. Get up early for work. Get dressed. Make breakfast. Get the kids ready for school. Morning commute. Chat with coworkers at the office. Do the job. And I'm gonna count that as like 5 spoons. Because that takes a lot of resources for everybody. Evening commute. Make dinner. Help the kids with homework. Talk to the spouse to process their day. Oversee bath time. I've got spoons left. If I start with 20. If I start from a neurotypical, healthy, trauma-free kind of place. So when neurotypical people get sick or experience health setbacks, traumatic events, they're going to lose some spoons for a while, and it's going to be harder to handle those things in the day, right? But eventually, through the healing process, the spoons come back and they're back at full capacity again after the grieving period, after the healing process. Some of us just get less spoons to start our day, though. Living with chronic illness was actually what blogger Christine Misandrino was trying to illustrate for a friend over dinner, utilizing the silverware on the table. Lupus, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's disease. These are just a few of the chronic illnesses that cause fatigue, pain, and brain fog or cognitive impairment that could be limiting the number of spoons that a person is starting their day with. Mental health issues and being neurodivergent can also limit the number of spoons that a person starts their day with. Hey Lorelei, what's neurodivergence? Oh, super short version, it means your brain processes stimulus and data in a non-typical way. Folks with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, etc., are all considered neurodivergent. It's not necessarily a disability per se. There are a lot of strengths and benefits that come from being neurodivergent, but it is sort of difficult to cope with in a neurotypical world where expectations and procedures and all that kind of stuff are set up for neurotypical people. So hi again, I'm Lorelei, and I am on the autism spectrum, which I didn't discover until my mid to late 40s. And I also suffered a mild traumatic brain injury, or TBI, when I was 18, which has led to chronic migraines and also periods of cognitive impairment or brain fog along the way. I figure I start my day with an average of about 13 spoons, so less than the 20. So some of the tasks I'm going to walk through are based more on being in my 20s and 30s when I had young kids in the house. That is not my lifestyle anymore. So, get up early for work. Take a shower. I'm going to count that as 2 spoons because I find it very frustrating for my sensory issues to have damp skin and try to do the things that come next in the getting ready for the day part. Put on makeup. Two spoons, one's on the floor. Just trying to control the meltdown and the negative self-talk that's trying to happen while I'm doing that process. Get dressed. 2 more spoons because the frickin' bra is sticking to my skin. I'm not dropping these on purpose. Make breakfast. I'm gonna skip that one. Who has time for breakfast? I've already mastered several meltdowns through the morning, so breakfast can wait. Oh yeah, but then I'm gonna have difficulty processing before lunchtime because I don't have enough fuel in my system. So that's still a spoon. Get the kids ready for school. That's actually 3 because my daughter also has autism and ADHD, and mornings were really hard. There are just lots of sensitivities to navigate for us both. I only have 2 spoons left, and I'm not even out the door yet. It's gonna take at least 3 spoons to maintain the level of social graces that I need just to deal with people at work, much less do the job. I'm thinking today's a mental health day, and I'll just stay home and see if I can recover some spoons so that I can do homework and dinner and bath. And that all sounds really hard. So I was actually in my 40s before I realized that I was on the autism spectrum. It often presents very differently for women than it does for men. And folks with high intellectual functioning tend to get misdiagnosed as something else. Bipolar, borderline personality disorder, depressed. I have better coping strategies now, but I also just understand myself better. I'm a Spoonie witch. I've also been an advocate for people with disabilities in the workplace since about 2016. As such, I have some perspectives and thoughts for witches who are living with disability or covens who would like to make their spaces more disability friendly. These thoughts aren't going to cover everything. This is just a starting place. So I actually invite you to add your comments and suggestions and perspectives in the comments down below. So the first suggestion has to do with flexible pacing. Some of us just really love a good study program and want to do all the things, as I am wont to say. And we might want to do all the things with or without a group. Go at your own pace philosophy can really be helpful with any kind of program or plan like this, though, since brain things or body things can come up, flare up, and just sort of like stomp all over your best laid plans. And I'm not necessarily suggesting to just like abandon the schedule activity, just to like circle back to it when you have the opportunity. And the spoons. Physical accommodations. There are 1,000,003 ways to work around how something is typically done in spellcraft, magic, or ritual and still be effective. The person's safety should always be the topmost consideration. And then after that, start thinking about why that tool is used in that way, or why that process works the way that it does. Ask questions or do research so that you have a really full understanding of why it is typically done this way, so that you know what the magical elements are that you're working with. Is there something about the materials, the action, the gesture, the stance that actually impacts the energy and the magic? And then look at what piece or pieces are out of reach or unmanageable due to the disability. That's going to give you the opportunity to answer the question, what substitution can be made or what piece can be altered in order to make it accessible and still achieve the desired results. So the short version of this is to keep what you can of the typical process, but make adjustments. Let me give you an example. Say that a particular ritual or magical working calls for dancing the spiral dance, but you have mobility problems. So maybe instead you can trace the coiled mazy pattern on a troy stone at a faster pace than you would if you were doing it for meditation, in order to raise the energy and tap into that coiled serpent energy within your own body. Trigger warnings. I actually have mixed feelings about trigger warnings for group ritual. On the one hand, I am not trying to add to anyone's trauma. On the other hand, certain mysteries and mystical experiences are only accessed through confronting the shadow and confronting the threshold guardians and sort of being very jolted out of your normal experience to face those triggering things within oneself. Ultimately, I think that a lot of the need for explicit trigger warnings comes down to a basic understanding of ritual expectations and purposes. So initiation rituals are by their very nature triggering, like on a very basic level. They are an ordeal experience. And this is worthy of like its own video, which I fully intend to do at some point in the future. So be on the lookout for that and subscribe, get notifications so that you can see when that one's coming. And then outside of initiations, you have like other types of rituals like lunar rites and sabbats and rites of passage like weddings and baby blessings and that type of thing, where you don't so much see that need for confronting the shadow. It's not like an inherent part of it necessarily. If you see phrases like confronting the shadow as part of the description of a ritual, or other heavy, strong emotion words like rage or justice, then go into it prepared to have that envelope pushed a little bit emotionally and psychologically, because they're probably dealing with issues of things that cause rage and injustices in the world. So those are going to cause you to have some kinds of big feelings and maybe confront your own personal injustices or the places where you've been unjust. And that can be triggering. Those kinds of rituals are designed to draw up some harder stuff, and you just need to sort of read critically the description when you're being invited. Mixed media magic. So one of the best things that we can do for the learning process and the ritual experience process is to give our brains as much diversity in the ways that we're experiencing the lesson or the information, the experience as possible. If you are leading ritual or teaching a class, please, please do not just rely on the power of your voice to convey information along with the power of the students' processing and memory. Use visuals. Make study notes or study guides, even like just a bulleted list of a lesson or a ritual outline can make such a difference in how somebody is able to like process and break down the information and the experience that you're bringing forward to them, and to be able to retain it, you know, in the long run, so that it is a meaningful experience throughout time and not just like a, well, that happened kind of experience and I don't know what to do with it. You can also be very kinesthetic by like bringing the information in, like bringing the activity into the body in some way and making it more interactive and physical, and then like grounded into the physical experience. It can be such a big help. And finally, fundamental grace. Work toward being more flexible and less rigid in your expectations for yourself and for others. Remind yourself that it's okay. You can still do all the things. You just don't have to do them all today. Witchcraft is a practice, and we are all practicing. Nobody is perfect, regardless of how flawless their Instagram may look. Give yourself and others the ease and the grace to be human and to have human things interfere with scheduled activities and plans. We're all just working with our own number of spoons over here. And that's all I have to say about that for today, folks. I would love to hear about how disability has impacted your witchcraft, or vice versa, how witchcraft has impacted your disability, down in the comments below, and what suggestions you might add to the list as a person living with a disability in order to make it more accessible, that is witchcraft, make witchcraft more accessible for others with disability, or for covens that are trying to make more disability-friendly spaces. I hope that you found today's chat useful, encouraging, or thought-provoking. If so, please bless me with the magic of the like button and tell your witchy friends that good stuff is happening here at Blade and Broom. And if you'd like to learn more about the traditional witchcraft that I practice or keep up with my witchy shenanigans, including books, events, in-person opportunities, that type of thing, then grab a free copy of the Thread app, link in the description box. Check news and notes for the freebies, or go to the Etsy shop for the Red Thread Academy. That's all. I'll see you back here next week for more witchy goodness. Bye, friends.